Might as well start. Is it back there?
Come on, we can't start this thing on time. I'm gonna have you fired, Russ.
Maybe we could get some new help.
Let's call the July 9th meeting of the Rolla Planning and Zoning Committee meeting together. We'll start with the minutes as was distributed. Anybody got any comments? We'll accept those as approved then. Report from recent city council action. Steve?
Yes, the last P&Z meeting we had a request to approve the final plat of Deer Crossing East 4. It was a major subdivision being a replat of lots 3, 4, 5, 6, and 14 of Deer Crossing East 3. On June 17, 2019, the City Council conducted the first and final reading of this ordinance as requested by the applicants, and the ordinance was passed unanimously.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Okay. Steve, would you like to introduce?
Yes, I would. As everyone knows, we've our city planner left back in February, and we've been searching for a city planner, and we have found one. Tom Coots, he's our new city planner. And he comes to us from Oklahoma, originally from Missouri, and has 14 years experience in city planning and a background in floodplain management, and he's got a wealth of knowledge, and I think he's going to be a good fit for the city. And this time I'd like to turn the meeting over to him, Mr. Tom Coots.
Okay. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. So, I guess first off, you're going to notice I've changed the way the PowerPoints are, and I'm definitely open to feedback, but you'll also find that I'm a bit of a faster presenter than you might be used to, so I try to keep things nice and simple and sweet. And so if there's any questions of me, we get to the end, just let me know if there's anything you needed to know.
Thank you.
So the first case we have is a rezoning. It's actually property that's owned by the Raleigh Municipal Utilities. The request is to zone from the C1 Neighborhood Commercial District, the R2 Two-Family District. This is located at the southwest corner of Lions Club Road or Drive and Highway O. It's like I said, it's owned by RMU. It is currently undeveloped. It's an open piece of property. It's not quite 2 acres. It's mostly surrounded by undeveloped areas, except to the south. There is a house right to the south of the property. Property, as I said, is currently zoned C1, which is neighborhood commercial. Property across the street to the north of Lions Club Drive, is also zoned the C1 district. The property to the south is the R1, which is the single family district, and then to the east is the rural residential. It's the yellow. So basically to the south of the property, it's residentially zoned. Across the street to the north, we have commercial, and then the blue area is mostly parkland, and then the other corner of Lions Club it's also owned by the city, but it's just open right now. The future land use plan does designate this property as being appropriate for public and institutional type uses, as mostly I think designated as that at the time because it was owned by the city. No plans, actual plans, public plans for the property have ever been made. The utility has run this property through the city council and has decided that this property is not needed for any public use and has actually been put up for sale, and there's a potential buyer for the property. The future land use map, you can see it shows basically to the south of the property as being appropriate for lower density residential type uses. Lower density residential does include duplex type development as the R2 district would allow. And the north of the property still shows it as being public type uses in parkland. This is a view from Google Street View. It is looking southeast from State Highway O at the corner of Lions Club Drive and Highway O. once again, you can see the property, it's undeveloped, it's just a open piece of ground. So basically just a summary of the important facts for this case, and if there's any more, they'll come out in this meeting. The request, it would be consistent with the adjacent current and future land uses, adjacent being residential type uses. It's currently owned by RMU, but it's not needed for any public use, so that's why it's up for sale. It is, however, at the intersection of two arterial roads, Lions Club Drive and State Highway O. Normally, you would expect to see commercial type uses at the intersections of two arterial roads, but these two roads, you might notice, don't have the type of traffic that most arterial roads do have. A portion of the property is impacted by floodplain. RMU actually intends to retain that part of the property to give to the Parks Department, the city. And there is limited access rights on Lions Club Drive, and also MoDOT's going to have some limited access rights on State Highway O, but that'll be an issue that comes up when the property is developed. No plans for the property have been submitted at this time. There is possible that additional requests for land use actions may have to go through the Planning Commission, depending on exactly what is submitted, for example, a subdivision of the property. But the owner, or not, the prospective buyer of the property has indicated that they are seeking the R2 zoning designation for a duplex type development, more than one duplex. So with that, before we move on to the public hearing, did you have any questions for me?
Any questions for Tom?
I've got a, I know it said that the entrance would have to be on O Highway because of the limited access on Lions Club Drive, but that's pretty close to the intersection there. Is
Yeah.
there any kind of limitation or requirement that it be so far from the intersection?
There will be. That will be a MoDOT thing. I do not know what the minimum requirements would be, and really, when it comes time to the development of the property, there'll be some discussions. They may have to have an access onto Lions Club Drive if they can't have an access onto O Highway. That's generally how they view Lions Club Road. Is if they've got to get it to you, they'll let you have it. But if otherwise, if there's other options, use the other option.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? How many units, duplexes, do you think would be adequate or maximum they could have on this?
I laid it out, and to meet codes for lot size and width and all that, I don't think they can get more than 5 lots,
Okay,
so 10 units.
10 units, okay.
What's the size of it? I don't remember.
It's not quite 2 acres. If you do the math, you can have up to about 7 lots, but just when you factor in the roads and the shape of the lot and all that, you can't fit that many.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll open up the public meeting, public hearing. Does anyone in the audience wish to come forward and address this issue?
I'm here, I'm Rodney with the utilities, I'm here and available to answer any questions if the commission would pose that.
Anyone else? You want, have questions for Rodney? Okay, no one wants to come forward, so we'll close the public hearing at this time.
Just so you know, the way I'd kind of like to do this after the public hearing, I'd like to come up one more time and just make sure there weren't any more questions, or if the public had something that maybe I should answer. And then I would present the alternatives that you have so that they're not up on the board right in front of you. So you can, but the alternatives are to accept the findings or the summary and recommend that the city council approve the request, or we can find that the request is not appropriate for this particular property based on the testimony that you receive, and recommend the city council deny the request. Or if you need more information, table the request to a certain date so that we can get that information for you.
Okay. Any comments or motions?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of this request.
Second?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Eberly,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Monty Shields,
Yes.
what will we say here? Jordan
Yes.
and Stephen Shields.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We'll move on to new business now.
Okay, so this is a request for a final plat or a minor subdivision. They're calling it the Martin subdivision. It's owned by SED Investments Incorporated, and it's located, well, I'll just move on to it. It's located kind of between Rolla Street and Elm Street on north side of Highway 72. Property is highlighted in the red. You can see the property is mostly undeveloped. There's one building there at the southeast corner of the property. The other building you see on the air photo has actually been removed. Essentially, it's made up of 3 different properties. They're kind of bringing it together and subdividing it into reconfiguring it into a different way, so there'll be 2 lots when they get done, basically an east half and a west half. And we do know that the west half is, somebody is looking at it for redevelopment. This is the current zoning of the property. The property is zoned C2, which is, actually, I don't know what some sort of general commercial. What type of, I haven't memorized that one yet. It is surrounded on the north by some residential and some commercial. General retail, okay. And like on the south side of it's on Highway 72. This is what the final plat looks like. As I said, it's 2 lots. One lot's an acre, the other one's the remainder, about half an acre. This blue line here I've added onto the screen is the boundary for the floodplain. So there is a portion of the property that has floodplain, especially there on lot 2. So when and if it's developed, it will be impacted by that. There's another tract, they're calling it the stormwater tract. They're actually proposing of their own volition to dedicate that land to the city with this plat. As you can see, it has the floodplain on it and a portion of the channel, and they don't want to have that on the lot 1, and the city staff is recommending that the city do accept this dedication because it's along a riparian corridor, and that's a good thing to want to protect. This is the stormwater tract there in yellow I just brought on there. This is street view from Highway 72 looking to the north at building. There we go. This building here is once again it's been removed from the property already. So this request does appear to meet all the subdivision requirements. All needed public improvements are already in place, so they don't need to build anything. It is currently zoned for commercial uses. A portion of the property is impacted by floodplain. That'll be something that comes up when and if that track 2 is developed. No plans have been submitted at this time, and once again, additional requests could possibly be necessary to come through. Once again, we do know that somebody is looking at the track lot 1 for a commercial development, and the stormwater tract is proposed to be dedicated to the city. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions, Tom?
Thank you.
Tom, on lot 2, you've got that little nub going up north. What is that for?
Well, the basic answer is lot 1 you see is exactly 1 acre. They want it to be exactly 1 acre. At some point, possibly this other property here, perhaps these will all be kind of combined together, and that'll make a nice regular square. But that's a someday. But the basic answer is they just wanted exactly 1 acre.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? You say this, anyone from the audience wish to address this issue? Anyone have any technical questions?
I will say that the.
Could you come up to the, state your name?
Sylvester First with Archer Elgin Surveying. I'll say the main purpose for this plat is to create Lot 1 so that it can do the conveyance. Lot 2 is the remaining lands, and as Tom indicated, if there's any future development done with Lot 2, because it's greatly impacted by the flood zone, there's some involvement between, my understanding, between SCD Investments and the AB&P LLC, the owner of the rectangle to the north, that if they plan to do anything, or if they get somebody that bites on the tract and wants to develop it, they'll come back and do a consolidation of Lot 2 and that other piece at some point. But right now, Lot 2 is just a remainder tract that's left over. Again, the main purpose being to create Lot 1 for the development.
Are there any developments on that other lot, the MABP one?
I think there's a house right now, but it's, yeah, and I think it predates the flood zone.
It used to be a gas station? Was that the
Well,
gas station?
It's across the street.
That's across the street.
Okay.
Gas stations on the west or east side.
Okay.
Used to be a whole row of houses on
Used to be.
Any other questions for Sylvester? Okay. Thank you. Anyone else from the audience wish to speak to this matter? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Anything else, Tom?
On this one, the alternatives on this one, or we can, yeah, we did have findings, sorry. We can accept the findings and recommend City Council approve the final plat. We can find that the request is not appropriate or does not meet the minimum code requirements, state those reasons, and recommend that the council deny it. Not denial. Or we can table the request to a certain date to answer any questions.
Any other questions or comments or motions?
Guess I move that we would accept the findings and recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? Roll call vote, please.
Stephen Shields,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Monty Shields,
Yes.
Everly,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, you can't vote. And Gordon.
Yes.
Sorry about that. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you. We have no old business. Anybody else in the group have any comments, questions? Anyone else from the audience have comments or questions?
I
Tom?
have one thing, I guess there's be a few things I'd like to take a look at improving now that I'm working here. So one thing is the reports. So I wanted to hand out the same report for the rezoning, just done a different way. And to just look at it, think about it, and let me know if you like it better or don't care or what have you. So
Thanks, sir.
You read? No.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have a
Thank you.
person who reads everything through.
I like it already, it's one page.
Yeah.
anyway, I think that's all I have. I am going to try at meetings to have a little bit of something, maybe every other meeting or something like that, just a little bit of training or just something to ask you about or something like that, just so we're keep engaged.
So, Tom, you'd still have a map along with
Yes.
the maps? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. If there's no other business or comments, meeting's adjourned.
Good job.